That's just how we're rolling. Hey, everybody, I'm back. It's Tuesday afternoon, morning, evening, whatever time zone you're in. But you are here for an Author Talk short, and my guest right now is Dortha. So, Dortha, tell us about the genre you write in and how you kind of became a writer.
Sure. I primarily write, I guess I would say, in nonfiction. And I got into writing in a kind of, I guess I've sort of always been a writer. When I was a kid, I actually would write little booklet pamphlet things and I would like circulate them among the family to read. And that sort of grew into a passion. I wrote a lot of essays and like competitively in high school. And then when I got into college, I was involved in debate and really enjoyed all aspects of the writing and figuring out things and the research and all that. And then was invited to participate in a bunch of different co-author roles of different books that were related to business. And then in 2012, started a 2-year journey of massive grief and loss that got me back to journaling. And then that prompted me to, I like, kind of knew that I wanted to write a book um, about that experience of this grief that I was experiencing, and that came in 2014. And I don't really know how to describe exactly how I got the idea to write the book, other than when my mom passed away, we had a really difficult relationship, and the thing that I wanted to kind of take away from that was that I knew my grief process was going to be different. So I sort of was like, okay, I'm just going to let this unfold however it unfolds. And unfortunately, 27 more people died in a 2-year period that compounded on top of all of that. So I changed the idea of the book from grieving a difficult relationship with a parent or whomever to grieving and reigniting joy after any kind of loss. So it really kind of adapted from the 2-year experience I had myself.
I feel like that's something that people need. Hold on just a minute.
Sure.
I feel like that's something that people need though, because a lot of people struggle with grief and they can make it where they feel very alone and
Hmm.
not supported with other people, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, I feel like was that therapeutic for you to like write your book on grief?
It was I think the start of my catharsis, though, happened in the journaling process because I was like, okay, kind of whatever is going to happen, and I'm going to give myself permission to write about it. So some days I would write and I would feel like, okay, I'm getting all this stuff out. And then other days I would write and I would be like, God, I feel like I literally am writing the same thing over and over again. And I just really had to kind of disconnect from what it should be or what it should feel like or whatever, and really just allow myself to flow in the process. And I think giving myself that freedom was really powerful to move through the grief for sure.
Yeah, see, I feel like, with someone else that is grieving or has had a lot of loss in their life, I feel like to read someone else's experience or their process and how they grieved, right? Because we all grieve
Hmm.
differently,
Sure.
And I think that reading about someone else's process or what they went through in a sense is um I want to say like therapeutic for
Hmm.
others, but I feel like it is just in an odd way brings them comfort, in an odd way it
Yeah.
definitely brings them comfort, and I think that
Yeah.
that's important to bring comfort to others. So what is your writing style? Are you a pantser? Are you a plotter? Did you have to plot an outline, or did you just sit down and you're like, I'm gonna write this story?
Yeah, good question. I actually signed up for a program that I knew would hold me accountable to actually writing the whole thing out. So it was kind of a high level plan of like, okay, I'm going to have this many chapters and there's going to be this and this and this. And I kind of knew some of the things I was going to talk about. But honestly, the way that I've learned about my free-flowing brain, when I give it something to noodle on, like a chapter, for example, I can sit down at the end of a day and just like type it out like mad. And so while I had sort of a framework, I definitely didn't really have a concept of like, okay, I'm going to write in this like very planned fashion. I have these questions to answer. It wasn't like that at all. It was a lot more like, okay, just like plug in my brain to the universe and like get the download and start typing. Um, yeah.
See, I love that. I haven't written a book. This is news to you. Most people listening to Author Talk know I haven't written a book. I work
Yeah.
with authors though, so I live vicariously very much through you guys.
Sure.
But I find it that that everyone's writing process is always different, and it's what works really well for them. And I
Yeah.
always feel like I would just be one that if I plotted it out and had like this tight outline, I would just stress myself out, because I'd be like, oh, I went off topic. Like I would just stress out. Where if I, had like okay, this is the story I want to tell. And
Yeah.
I just sat down and told it, however it came out, I would be a lot less stressed. I'm just saying. That's the kind of person that I am 100%.
Yeah.
So what was the pivotal moment for you? I mean, I know, you went through a lot of loss and everything, but what was it where you sat down and you're like, you know what, I'm going to write this and I'm going to publish this book to help others? What was that moment?
So I've always been kind of an outdoorsy person, and my husband sent me an invitation from somebody at work. Gosh, I think it was in 2015, and he was like, "Hey, honey, this guy is looking to, put together a couple of people to go on a backpacking trip. What do you think? Do you want to go?" And I had almost always wanted to go. Like I say almost because, I don't know what age that formulated at, but I always was sort of enamored by the idea of a backpacking trip. And we live right near the Sierra Nevada mountains. So it's kind of like a no brainer. Like at some point, you have to try it at least once. And I was like, yeah, okay, like I want to give it a try. So we did. And it was absolutely incredible. I'll throw the backdrop out there though. We did get charged by a bear on the last practice hike we did just before that. And so I was definitely a little more skittish on this trip than I've gotten to be.
I would be too. I would be too. Okay. I don't know if I would have gone after that. Okay. I'm just saying. No.
It was okay. It was my husband and I at that point had been married for like 11 years. And it was that moment of finally realizing, oh, literally I can trust him, hit my life in his hands, literally. So, because he was the reason the bear didn't obviously eat us because we're still here.
Okay. That you have a newfound appreciation. I like it. Newfound appreciation for him. I love
New skills I didn't know he had. And we've made jokes since then that the bear is his spirit animal, and it very much is. I can't even tell you, but he's definitely part bear. Anyway, so it was on this trip that I remember coming home, and so it was a 3-day trip. It was about a 45-mile trip. And when we got home, I was sitting at the kitchen table and I was like, just sort of like thinking about the trip, like not really anything, concrete, but I felt an incredible sense of peace about like all of the grief that I had been experiencing. So I kind of attributed to that, even though at that point the book had already been written and published actually. I kind of look at that as sort of the catalyst for like hoping that I could share that experience with other people. So by way of the book, and then also by way of my own personal experience. And we've been backpacking hundreds of miles since then every year. So.
Oh, okay. It's interesting that you bring that up because my husband's wanting to take me backpacking on this. It's this. I don't know, on this island in Hawaii. This like 22-mile.
Just say yes.
Okay, I know. I said yes because it's how I'm gonna get to Hawaii. Okay, like I'm like, yes, I will do it. Yes, But it's interesting because I've been watching a lot of these like YouTube videos, right? Because if it rains there, you're just, you got to say a prayer and hope you survive, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But everyone comes out of it, right? And they're just like, it was the best experience, and it was just so humbling and everything about it, and so. It's so divine that it brought you a sense of peace when you were doing it, which made it, that's just an amazing story to hear. But on top of that, you have opted into the 12 days of page turners with me and my crazy self.
Yes.
Because we
all
all
in.
Everyone listening now in the replay, you guys all know, you know me by now, okay? My child being on is not a first for Author Talk by any means. But on top of that, you've opted to join me in the 12 days of page turners, and you're going to be on December 7th.
Yep.
So without telling us what your promotion is, because we're going to talk about that on December 7th, give us a little bit of a hint of what it's going to be about.
Yeah. Well, my hope is that it imparts people with more joy in their life. So I don't want to give too much away, like you said, but my hope is that it sparks and brings joy to people's lives.
I love that. I had the pleasure of interviewing someone else that wrote a book to help with mental health, PTSD and mental health. And I feel like, you know, these kind of both go hand in health, like, or hand in health, hand in hand, because mental health and dealing with grievance, they can both affect one another.
For
and
sure.
So it is, I have utmost respect for you and the therapy that has evolved into your book and processing it, you know, because it is, you know, everyone is experiencing it. Either you have, you will, or you are currently dealing with it, right?
Yeah.
So I think that it's important, and I am a firm believer that the written word has power, and so I am 100% a firm believer in that. Yes, James Hill, The Joy of Nature. 100%.
Totally. And there's my next book. Thanks, James.
I love it. Well, that was my next question. What is next for you? Have you been written or bitten by the written bug, and are you going to write another book, or what is that?
Yeah. I've actually I've been noodling some ideas around to writing about nature and some of the experiences that we've had. And also, I have an option about something that's like a personal experience that was like this kind of crazy time of my life. And I've talked to a couple of people that are like in publishing, and they're like, you should totally write a book about that. So I'm sort of kind of considering which option to go with next, but I feel really called to the nature piece because, you know, I do help people in that arena. So I feel like that would probably be my next logical step. And you know, again, thanks, James, for the title. Oh, thank you.
You're free to use it. You are free to use it. So you guys, like I mentioned earlier, she's going to be joining us on December 7th at 7 p.m. Central. We're going to find out what her wonderful holiday promotion is going to be about. You're going to have to come back, though, and let me talk to you about all your other books and everything like that. But I'm so excited to dive deeper into the conversation about your book and your promotion and just you as an author and what all you have coming next on December 7th for the 12 days of page turners. But thank you for taking time out of your day.
Yes, me too. Thanks for having me.
Talk to me and, you know, Sky, who joined us.
Yes.
But thank you so much. I'm so looking forward to it. So you guys, make sure that you join us December 7th. We're going to have some awesome promotions of the 12 days of page turners. So make sure you're there. But until next time, bye everybody.